7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you listening?
Ricky J Sports.
What is going on, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to the Ricky J UFC Fantasy League. And this is going to be a monumental video because in our fantasy league, we are going to be covering 4 fights in this fight card. Usually we only cover 2 fights, but since this New York card, UFC 205, Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor, is such a monumental event because the first event in the UFC in New York. So this is going to be huge. So we're going to cover 4 fights. We could easily cover 6 fights. There's so many good ones on the card. Oh man, we could even cover 7 fights or even 8. I love the Thiago Alvarez, Jim Miller fight. Rashad versus Kennedy. Michael Johnson versus Khabib. Jeremy Stephens versus Frankie Edgar. Donald Cerrone versus Calvin Gastelum. The list goes on, but I don't want to make it too long of a video or give you guys so much work to do to cover all those fights, but we're going to cover 4 fights and the first fight. So don't forget, you have to give me your prediction for 4 of these fights, okay? For all 4 of them. So in the first fight we're covering, it's Chris Weidman versus Yoel Romero. And Romero is 39 years old. He is on a tear, man. He's won a bunch of fights in a row. He even beat Ronaldo Souza, who everyone's kind of saying he is the uncrowned champion in the division, and everybody's running away from him. But he is 39 years old, and he's going up against the former middleweight champ, Chris Weidman. And this is a tough fight to call, man, because Romero is coming off a great win against Souza, and Weidman's coming off a loss against Rockhold. Remember that Rockhold fight? That was a great fight. If you haven't seen that fight, you got to check it out. I think this fight is going to be a barn burner. Chris Weidman's fighting in his hometown in New York. Romero is a tough opponent. I think Weidman's going to be cautious. He's not going to want to overcommit like he did against Rockhold. So real quick, I'm going to say Chris Weidman is going to win this fight. Oh, it's tough to say because Romero is a beast. But I'm going to have to say that, Weidman's going to win by second round stoppage. Yep. I was going to say by decision. I'm going to have to say stoppage. Now in the next fight, it's a battle between the 2 Polish princesses. It's Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Carolina. How do you say her last name? Kowalkiewicz. You say. I'm going to call her just Carolina. But Carolina is undefeated. She is a durable fighter. She beat Rose Namajunas recently, back in July, and usually she wins her fights by decision. So there's a lot of splits, there's a lot of unanimous decisions. She's not really a finisher, and she's going up against probably the greatest champ in the strawweight UFC history for the women, and it's Joanna, and she's 29 years old, in the prime of her career, and she has won her last 2 fights by unanimous decision. And I don't think anything's going to change here. I think she's going to retain her title. Joanna is. I think she is going to either win by a 5-round decision. I hope it doesn't go 5 rounds because we have 2 other title fights after it. So, I don't know. Carolina is really durable. She's undefeated. So I'm going to have to say Joanna is going to win by 5-round decision. Now in the next fight, people, buckle up. This fight is my favorite fight on the card, and it is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson against Tyron Woodley. And Stephen Wonderboy, in my opinion, he's my favorite fighter in the UFC right now. He's so much fun to watch. Back in the day, I loved his fight. Well, back in the day, last year, I loved his fight against Jake Ellenberger because Jake Ellenberger, the juggernaut, was talking all this trash like he's not going to do anything to me. He's not going to beat me by a spinning hook or any type of kick. And then he KO'd him. And then after that, the fight against Hendricks was unbelievable because Hendricks is a cocky brother, man. And seeing Stephen Wonderboy just take him out like nothing, man, was unbelievable. And then also his dismantling of Rory McDonald. He picked him apart, and it's just unbelievable to see this guy work. He is just on the top of his game, and he's facing the current welterweight champ, Tyron Woodley. And Tyron's 34 years old. He hasn't defended his title. He's won 3 fights in a row. and he's done a good job in that. He lost to Rory McDonald. So here's the thing. You can't really predict, since Thompson beat Rory by decision and Woodley lost to McDonald by decision. You would think Thompson's going to win. But this is a tough call. It's really tough to defend your title. I say it all the time, man. You're not a true champion until you defend your title. And Woodley did catch Robbie Lawler and beat him and finished him. But Stephen Thompson's a hungry guy. And I think with Stephen Thompson's length, people, I don't think Woodley is going to be able to close that distance. I think Stephen's going to use his kicks. He's going to use his footwork. And when Tyron Woodley tries to blitz him, he's just going to circle away, back away, and keep on picking him apart, using leg kicks, using high kicks, I love how Wonderboy puts his lead hand on his knee, on that front knee, and just starts hopping around. I think it's going to be a clinic. I think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's going to win. Maybe by decision, but I don't think it's going to go that way. I think Tyron Woodley is going to gas out. And I'm going to have to say Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is going to be crowned the new champion. And he's going to beat Woodley in the 3rd round by TKO. All right, the main event. Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez. Now, I love Conor McGregor. I'm telling you right now, I'm a huge fan of Conor McGregor. I think he's fantastic for the sport. But I worry about him. At 28 years old, I think he's biting a little more than he can chew, man. I think he's facing guys that are bigger than him. Conor's 5'8", and Eddie Alvarez is 5'10". He's a little bit taller, but Eddie Alvarez is a proven lightweight. He's been in the division, and Conor he hasn't fought once really in the UFC in the lightweight division. And Eddie Alvarez is an unbelievable athlete. He does tend to gas here and there, but he is a durable guy. He could take damage. Seeing him destroy Rafael dos Anjos was unbelievable. Beating Anthony Pettis was great with his wrestling. Now the key in this match is, can Conor McGregor withstand the wrestling of Eddie Alvarez, man? Remember Chad Mendes, Eddie Alvarez always talks trash to Conor McGregor about the Chad Mendes fight. If Conor can't stuff the takedowns, because against Chad Mendes, he couldn't stuff the takedowns in the beginning, and Mendes was scoring, then the fight's going to go to Eddie Alvarez if he's going to go for the wrestling. But if McGregor can stop those takedowns, he is going to have a great chance. Now, mind you, the losses that Eddie Alvarez has withstood has been against Donald Cerrone by decision, Michael Chandler back in 2011 by submission, and he has looked really good in his fights. But he hasn't fought the type of talent that, usually other guys in the UFC has fought. But he did fight Gilbert Melendez, who's very talented. He did fight Anthony Pettis, who's talented, and he's done very well. Now, Conor McGregor, man, I know you guys are like, just tell me, Ricky, but I'm not quite sure. McGregor hasn't fought, he has fought Nate Diaz, but he hasn't fought a lot of lightweights that are big and bad and stronger than him. I think Eddie Alvarez is stronger than him, but can Eddie withstand the striking? And I don't know, man. I don't know. Hopefully McGregor's power translates a little bit better at 155 than it did at 170. I don't know. This is a tough call. It could go either way. Oh, man. I'm going to have to go with Conor McGregor. The only reason I'm going for Conor McGregor is because I'm cheering for him, man. So I want to cheer for him, and then if he wins, it'll be that much sweeter. So I'm going to have to say Conor McGregor is going to win. It may go to a decision. But I'm going to have to say that McGregor is going to use his footwork. He learned a lot from the Nate Diaz fight. I'm hoping he's going to withstand those takedowns. So I'm going to have to say McGregor is going to win by... Oh, man, it's going to be tough because McGregor, once it gets later, McGregor fades. So I'm going to have to say McGregor is going to win by 2nd round KO. Oh, man, that's a bold decision. That's a bold statement, but I'm going to say that. But like I said, I could see it going Eddie's way. This is going to be must-watch TV. I can't wait. Can you people out there wait for this card? It's going to be epic. So once again, Conor McGregor, 2nd round KO. I'm hoping it's going to go that way, but we will see. Anyhow, people, enjoy the updated standings at the end of this video. You're actually going to see it right now, and I'll catch you guys later, man. This is Ricky J, baby, from Ricky J Sports. As always,
You are awesome.